Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special time for us here at the Turner Foundation for Community Advocacy, where we are introducing our first ever podcast. And the podcast is titled Amplify Conversations that Echo Beyond the Mic. And I'm your host, Dominic Turner. And with me today is my co host, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sunny. So glad to be here. So excited about this journey and looking forward to a lot of dynamic conversations with our guests going forward.
Fantastic. And in the title, Amplify, we thought that that was an appropriate title because all too often we see that, the type of people that their stories need to be told quite often go untold. We see the sensational stories that appear on social media all the time. And what we wanted to do in this podcast was to highlight community leaders, civic leaders, youth entrepreneurs, and really for this first series of podcasts, we wanted to really focus on the topic of social entrepreneurship. And I'll tell you that, I had no idea what social entrepreneurship was until a University of Georgia professor shared with me that that's the type of work that we're doing here in the Turner Foundation. Um, and so it just literally blew my mind that there's a body of research out there that's developing around social entrepreneurs. And what he told me was, I mean, you all do exactly what a for-profit entrepreneur does, but you're in the nonprofit space. And so it's great that you're doing what you're doing, he said. And that kind of dovetailed into, us wanting to do this podcast. So, I'll start off, Sunny. Just share with the folk a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and what they can expect to hear from you through the podcast.
Sure. Thanks, Dom. I come from corporate America, spent quite a bit of time in technology sales, and also did some specialized HR solutions as well, and rose through the ranks through leadership from, being a quota carrying sales rep to, and wildly successful in doing all of that, to becoming a vice president of sales of a national sales organization. And so, leading me here is a lot of things that and experiences that I bring from my time specifically as a leader in business, right? And being able to work with people who were inspired to do more, do better, and being able to lend some coaching, some advice, some bit of expertise to help people be able to see what they can do and how they can have success and achieve their goals. And so the connection here for me is seeing those very same things with the outcomes and the results that we see in the kids and that we our constituents that we service, with the kids and the progress that they've been making, which I'm sure we'll talk about a bit. But having an opportunity to have an impact in their lives and to see them be able to see that they can flourish and succeed, and they can do whatever they want is kind of an easy connecting tie there. So that's kind of why I'm here, and I'm so grateful that you invited me to participate in this with you. It's been an exciting journey figuring these things out, and so looking forward to talking with other professionals and social entrepreneurs and people who have big dreams and big goals, and getting the word out so that people can know what's going on in the world. There's more going in the world that's positive and connective than some of the things we see on a regular basis. But so excited to be on this journey with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. High five for real. I, I'll tell you, one of the big things that I want folk to take away from this podcast is that I'm sure there are other folk out there who have come to a point in their careers and they're trying to find deeper purpose, deeper meaning, right? And of course, that we've got bills and responsibilities and things like that to handle. So one of the things that we'd like to have the listeners take away from this is understanding the journey. It's not an overnight journey, right? It's a transformation over time, that one would find themselves in. It really starts with your passion, whatever your passion may be. It just so happens that our passion is in the community advocacy space. And from that, forming a mentorship program to help, students make that trek from high school to college and how they can differentiate themselves in between. Um, but I want listeners to really, really l- pay attention to the journey with us, because we're going to really talk about that a lot in this podcast, is the journey and the struggles, the positives, the negatives, the ups and downs, the emotional head trips that we all go through when we're trying to go from, something that's solid to a complete conceptual idea that you're trying to bring into reality, right? Um, I will tell you, you're not alone. I will tell you that there's strength in numbers. One of the things that I've drawn strength from just in my journey in this foundation from you, Sonny, is that you know I'm not alone in this path, and there are people out there who share that same heartfelt passion for community work, and I think that's what connected us originally. What would you say?
No, I completely agree. As a matter of fact, I mean, it's been so impactful, having days where, we're trying to see up from down while we're, building the plane while we're flying it, right? And it's good to have someone who can relate, who can understand that you can pick up the phone and call and say, you know what, I don't have any more today, you know, or, this week has been really, really tough. We've been powering through, but I just don't know what, if anything, I got accomplished, right? And so it's good to have someone who, you can relate to, that you're connected to, who can understand the struggle, but that you can talk to and get feedback. It's not just a gripe session. It's, well, think of it this way, or, tomorrow's another day, right? So it's good to have someone that you can definitely um, talk to and connect with when we meet those lulls that you feel like, even though we're working together, you still feel like you're there by yourself, and so it's been great having the opportunity to work with you and work through these hurdles and go from that conceptualization to reality, which brings us even here to this podcast. And we talked about this a year ago, and here we are. And it's just exciting to see these things, these results, and these things come to fruition and come to life. Um, and understanding that, it's been a bit of a journey for sure, but now, we're here. And it's exciting, and you can be reinvigorated to do some other things and have some other ideas, because we met one goal.
There you go.
Yeah.
I
What,
tell
what
you,
would you say?
well, I would say well said, because um, I, I think when we were doing this, I'd share with you this story that I'd heard from a dear friend of mine who, he's deeply philosophical, sometimes to the point where he doesn't even know he's being philosophical when he's being philosophical, right? He could be throwing out a little story to you, and you're like, "Whoa, that was deep, man." I mean, wow. So I was over at his house one day, and he just got to talking about something that he had seen on a nature show on TV, something that seemed real benign and simple. But he was talking about how I'd seen this episode where there was a pack of elephants, and there were some baby elephants and some adolescent elephants as part of this pack, right? So you can just imagine a safari like scene. And then, you're thinking that they don't have any predators, but they do. And the predators in this episode were a pack of lions, right?
Yeah.
And the pack of lions decided they were going to try to separate from the pack the weakest elephant that they saw. They cornered a baby elephant, but the big elephants quickly surrounded that baby elephant. So the lions were unsuccessful.
Yeah, those matriarchs are fierce.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then the same thing happened again in the episode, and they were able to separate an adolescent elephant. He got away from the pack. This time he got far enough away where the lions were able to separate him far enough to where they didn't have to worry about being attacked immediately. And they were able to take him down. And I'm sitting up here, I'm listening to Nate, my buddy, talk about this story. And literally, I'm hearing what he's saying, but I'm seeing my own experience in this foundation work.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing myself as that adolescent elephant. And I'm seeing these lions try to separate me from my pack, my strength, my motivation, my positive energy, my source of inspiration, the folk that I surround myself with. And the the figurative lion is our life struggles, right? Those challenges that we face on a daily basis, the bills that we have to pay,
Mhm.
the issues happening with our kids, the job we're dealing with, the struggles of life. Those are the lions.
Yes.
And so I quickly saw from his philosophical story myself, and I said, that's got to be the core reason for me to take a step and launch this podcast, because I want other social entrepreneurs, other community leaders to understand the power of the pack and the power of community
Mhm.
and the power of networking with like-minded individuals, because that safety in numbers is no more present than right then and there.
Absolutely.
And so, that's, I think, the real essence behind why this podcast has come to life.
Sure. Sure. So talk about kind of the goals and kind of your vision of this podcast, what we ultimately hope to get from this.
Great question. I'll tell you, it's multi-layered. I think I'll start where I just wrapped up, and that is I want community leaders to have a place to come on a regular basis to learn from other community leaders doing similar work, and to get motivated, to get inspired, to get encouraged, to keep on keeping on, keep taking that one step that is so painful, but you take it anyway. And then another goal is to form a larger community of folk that can work together, that can network, that can do great work collaboratively. There's no telling. I mean, just the folk that I've met from this experience of being in a foundation has connected me to countless numbers of folk that, had I not taken a step in this direction, I would have never met them.
Mhm.
And they have been instrumental in helping me develop in this space. Without them, no telling where I would be. Um, I was on another podcast, and I talked about um, the power of developing your brand, and developing your brand involves involving other people in that brand experience that can also get out there and share your story. So you and I are connected, other community leaders are connected, and we're all talking with other people that you and I don't know,
Right.
but they're telling our story,
Yeah.
and they're sharing the vision and the impact of the work that they see that we've accomplished. And then they connect us with someone. And, that could lead for folk like us who are social entrepreneurs that rely on grants for funding, and donors. the donor community is a small community as a whole.
Sure.
Um, but getting connected to other donors through the work that you're doing is another goal of the podcast, is to be the connecting point where even donors are coming and listening. Grantors are coming and listening. And they're seeing the folk that are involved in the podcast, and they're seeing if there's a way that we can help them as well.
Yeah, it's a classic case though of what we learned in corporate America, which is, you want to have people speaking your name in rooms that you're not in.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We
So
can't be everywhere.
exactly, exactly. But you mentioned earlier community building, and I know that that's something we talk about quite a bit. So let's unpack that a little bit. When you talk about collaboration and community building, what do you mean?
So it goes, that's such a great question. You got chills going down my arms. I'm not even kidding you, Sonny. I mean, you can see them. I mean, whoa. I'll, I'll tell you, that goes right to the core of community advocacy work. That goes to the core of success in community advocacy work, is solely founded on your ability to form a coalition. You can't do this kind of work on your own. You cannot be successful in this space on your own. You have to, as a community leader, learn how to successfully build and maintain and expand on a coalition of like-minded individuals. And these individuals could be far and wide in terms of their backgrounds, but they have a passion that connects with what you're doing, and they want to help you. Um, and so at the core of community advocacy work is coalition building, and being able to bring people together to accomplish a common goal. So I'll pause there. Did I answer that question, or I'm sure that there's more I can unpack there. Help me.
Yeah. So yeah, let's dig a little deeper then, right? Because you gave us the high level here. So I guess give me a good example of some of the coalition building you've done successfully and the outcomes of it, and why you chose that particular um, project or person or deal to do.
So that goes right to the essence of community. So community is the neighborhood that you live in. Community is the people that live in that neighborhood. Community is the environment that that neighborhood is in. Good, bad, positive, negative, crime, no crime, drugs, no drugs, um, and the list goes on, right?
Yeah.
Many people see these things happening, good or bad, in their community. Let's focus on the bad, for example. And they walk by and they hope that somebody else will do something.
Yeah.
They hope that somebody will pick up that trash. They hope that somebody will stop these kids with these guns in the park. You know, I'm afraid to let my kid go in that park because, I don't know even where to turn to get help.
Yeah.
Um, and so at the core of community is understanding that that community is connected to a larger neighborhood, to a larger city that's governed by um, people that have political clout, that are there to act on behalf of the constituents in that community.
Right.
And so I learned from my corporate background to start at the top of any org structure that we go into,
Yeah.
right? And to start your communications at that highest level and let them direct you where you need to go. So for me, I'll give an example. When I started this work of community advocacy in the city of Atlanta, as you know, the city of Atlanta is a major, extremely large, extremely wide government organization with so many different departments responsible for so many different things. And then
Absolutely.
under that department, there's so many different people that are assigned to do certain things.
Yes. Classic onion. Yes.
Right, exactly. Layer upon layer upon layer.
Yes.
But starting at the top is something that's just been drilled in, us as corporate salespeople.
Mm.
And so, I started at the top by navigating to the top of city government in city of Atlanta and letting them know that I was concerned about the condition of the community um, in Atlanta, where I'd purchased some property. And I wanted to start by just getting something simple as trash cleaned up off the street because it was just trash everywhere.
Mm.
And, I talked to other community folk and they're like, it's just, it is what it is. And I'm like, it ain't got to be that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I reached out to Public Works, and then you can go on the website for City of Atlanta Public Works and you can see the commissioner right there. So I reached out to him, and it was Commissioner Alfred Wiggins at the time, Public Works. And I said, Commissioner Wiggins, I'd like to meet with you out on the street and share with you what we're seeing and see how you can help. And he met with me and brought his entire team, right? So,
That's awesome.
and we took a walk. And what came out of that discussion was, okay, we see that there's illegal dumping happening in this area. Let me handle that. So he got his team, and it went through a very quick turnaround. And before you know it, he had to get a dump truck and a front end loader out there to get all that trash out.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool, check.
Yeah.
Can I get some no dumping signs? Check. And through meeting with him, that led me to another City of Atlanta department, Public Works, because I wanted to get, Department of Transportation. I wanted to get some Jersey barriers, those big concrete road barriers,
Yeah. Yeah.
put up on the road where people were illegal dumping to prevent them from going back there and dumping.
Right.
So I'm talking with the Commissioner of Public Works at the time. I'm sorry, of DOT. I keep saying Public Works, but DOT, and got the Jersey barriers installed. Check.
Yeah.
That led me to going over to the church, which was right adjacent to the area that I was working in. And I walked in and asked, can I speak with the pastor? And ended up meeting with him and his entire team. And I was like, hey, there's a park across the street. Do you guys ever use that park? He's like, no, man, that park is dangerous. I would never let my congregation go over there. And I'd rather do a barbecue in our parking lot here at the church rather than over there at that park, right? That kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that led me to Parks and Recs department. And so I started looking into the park and researching the park. And that's a whole nother story of where that led, right?
Right.
But that led me to meeting with city council for that district, which is District 11 in the city of Atlanta, Marcy Collier Overstreet. And then I'm meeting with her and her team. And, now I've got this coalition forming of all of these different government entities who then started telling me, hey, Mr. Turner, we also work with some ancillary organizations outside of government proper that also support neighborhood beautification.
Yeah.
And so they turned me on to Trees Atlanta and Park Pride.
Yeah.
And the coalition went even further because in that park, my introduction to the park was going into the park, taking my son and daughter, and them being afraid to get out of the car because of all the drug paraphernalia. And you walk 10 feet from the car and there's bullet casings.
Oh gosh.
And then we go up to the basketball court and there's some guys sitting out there. And my son noticed it before I did and he said, Dad, look. And I was like, before he even said that, I asked the guys, hey man, how often do you guys shoot up here? Right. And the guy that got defensive. He's like, man, I don't shoot up here, man. What you talking about? I don't shoot up here. Right? My son,
There's a couple of ways that question could have been interpreted.
well, he took it the wrong way because at that point, my son yanked my arm. He's like, Dad, look. And the guy had an AR-15 assault rifle sitting right there. And he's like, no, man, I don't shoot up here. I was like, no, man, I mean basketball. How often do y'all shoot basketball? Oh my God.
Now, considering what you walked into, it like you walked up to him, he's got this piece here, and yeah. So, how often do you shoot up here? Or all the drug paraphernalia? How often do you shoot up here?
Yeah, exactly. Nah, man, I don't shoot up here at all, man. No, dog, I don't do that.
Yeah.
But it just continued. Then I started just talking with folk on the basketball court. And I was like, what would you like to see here? And, I'd stop people walking because that park is centered in a way where there's apartments behind it. There's apartments aside of it. There's $400,000 homes. There's another apartment over here. And then there's a church across the street. There's a little corner grocery store.
Yeah.
So it's dead center of this community, right? So a lot of time people walk directly through the park.
All the time, yeah.
Young women with babies and strollers, and the park, I'm gonna tell you, anyway. It needed some help.
Yeah.
And so that began, this work, right? And that was how the coalition started. And going to the top of city government, forming this friendly coalition of community leaders, of government organizations, other nonprofits, Trees Atlanta, Park Pride, the church, talking with schools in that area. And it just kind of just snowballed from there.
Yeah. The results and outcomes for that work was absolutely stunning. And so for people who are interested to see the results of that project, I urge you to pop over to joincommunityadvocacy.org and check out the work, the nice pictures and pictures of folks in the community helping out, but absolutely beautiful results in that community. I mean, we really turned that park around. It took some time, but turned that park around to a wonderful, safe, usable, well-lit park that the community can actually use. So yeah, check that out, joincommunityadvocacy.org.
Absolutely. And I will tell you this. I'd be disingenuous if I didn't bring this up, but community advocacy work aligns with a government's financial budgets and focus as well.
Sure.
You can ask for stuff all day, but if there's no money for it, it gets kind of tough.
Sure.
But that's why community advocacy work is not a one call, that's all kind of work in and of itself.
Sure.
You have to learn how and when the government gets money, spends money, who owns that money, who holds the purse strings to that money, and how does the community's vision that you've gathered from all the input that you've got align to how the government's going to spend that money.
Right.
And then your job as an advocate is to make sure that focus remains in the community from the government's perspective, right?
Exactly.
And that is the essence of community advocacy work, right? You are advocating on behalf of the larger community you've communicated with, and you've just chosen to bring that to the attention of city government because that's what you can do.
Right.
Anybody can do this work.
Absolutely.
It's not, that I have any special set of skills per se, or any different tie-in to city government. I'm just a citizen, just like anyone else. It's just, advocacy work starts with learning how to navigate large government organizations. And if you have a knack for that, that can go a long way to helping you. And I think that's the essence of what we're teaching the kids in our mentorship program too.
Sure, absolutely. Let's put a pin in that conversation about the mentorship program because I'm super excited to hear you talk about that and the successes we've had there. But
Oh,
let's take a moment to take a step back because you mentioned, you know, what community advocacy is all about, and that you didn't have any particular set of skills per se, but I would beg to differ. So I think we should take a moment now to kind of go back to your origin story. Where did this come from in the first place?
wow. Awesome. You've been doing this for a while, haven't you? You are awesome. Wow.
I'm very good at asking questions in meetings.
That is the bomb. I'm gonna tell you, the question is awesome because you know, yes, I have been in corporate for almost 15 years. What I learned,
But I think this started before corporate, right?
yeah, you're right. Let me
A
back
little
up.
bit more foundational.
Let me go all the way back.
Yes, let's go.
So my dad was a community advocate up in Washington, D.C. And one of the things that I watched him do firsthand was instead of waiting for somebody to get out and solve a problem that he saw, he just got out there and did it. And then as he did it, other folk joined in, other organizations joined in. The
The
local
coalition
church,
building.
it was the coalition building again.
Yeah.
With him, it was, he's going to do it regardless. And then other people saw him take that initiative over time. I'm talking years. And he got out there, for example, across the street from our house in DC. It was a very overwooded, underbrush covered area that was not a safe place. It was like a crime it was conducive to crime, right? And so we decided to well, he decided to get out there and just start cutting back the trees and cutting out the underbrush.
Mhm.
Next thing you know, neighbors got out there with him.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's all the way down the street. He's a block down the street. I'm like, yeah, that's you all the way down the street.
At our house.
That's not our house. Next thing you know, he's around the corner. Next thing you know, he's down another block, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the Civic Association got involved, and then DC government got involved, and he ended up getting millions of dollars in neighborhood improvements as a result of that early advocacy work. And so that was the model for me coming down here to the city of Atlanta. I'm glad you highlighted that, Sonny, because that's where it all started. That's where it all started.
Yeah.
It was literally a labor of love for him. He did it all the way up until the day he passed away, right? Literally, he could physically not do it anymore.
Right.
And in recognition for that, the community came together, civic association, the local church, and they erected a memorial in his name to where he started that work,
Wow.
right across the street from our house.
That's amazing.
And it's still there to this day.
Still there. Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome. So then talk to me about the work or where you started this work in the Atlanta metro area. I mean, I remember early when we first met, you were working on a project on getting some barriers set up on a street somewhere. And I thought, well, why is he doing that? But when you explained, the danger, the travesties that had taken place around there, and that you were a concerned citizen who'd had enough, and there was in your mind a simple solution to fix it, you just went after the city and said, "Hey, we need to do something about this." Tell me about that experience.
Thank you. I was living in the newly formed city of Sandy Springs at the time,
Mm.
and I noticed women with kids walking along this road that had no sidewalks.
Mm.
And I'm talking that close to where the people are walking is the end of the actual asphalt,
Wow.
right? And these are footpaths that people have made on the side of the road.
Sure.
Um, all times of day and night.
Yeah.
I noticed that there were no lights on this road. And then I noticed that uh, it was a 40-foot embankment. Like the road is here, but there's a 40-foot drop off
Oof.
on each side.
Yeah.
And it was about almost a quarter of a football, almost half a football field length long, where that drop off area was really dangerous.
Right.
Then I found out that somebody died because the car went literally right off the embankment and
Wow.
went down 40 feet, and the person crashed into a tree and they were DOA right there, right?
Wow.
So I brought that all to the attention of the newly formed city of Sandy Springs government. And the interesting story behind it is that um, I'd met with the project manager, who was a sister, um, out at the street where I wanted to get this work done. And at this point, and by this time, we had been talking on the phone probably 2 or 3 months, right? Back and forth discussions. Here's what we're thinking, and this is what I would like to see. I want to see guardrails, street lights, sidewalks, the whole nine. Um, so when she was meeting with me, she was meeting with me to give me some blueprints and show me the blueprints for the concept that would encompass everything that I was asking for. And when she saw me, she just startled and laughed, right? And I was like, "What's so funny?" Right? She's like, "Mr. Turner, I'm sorry, I gotta apologize. All this time, I thought I was talking to an older white guy." And I was like, "Wait a minute, why?" She said, "Because I mean, I don't know." And she said, um, all this time, I've never met a young brother who was this civic minded and would go to this length to see this thing through to this point. And in her own experience, the older white guy was the person she was used to interacting with when these community improvements came up as requests.
Okay.
So, that was my intro to, community advocacy work in Atlanta, right? In Sandy Springs. And that was the experience.
Yeah.
By the end of it, we'd secured about $1 million in neighborhood improvements from it. We got almost half a mile's worth of sidewalks installed. We got a bunch of street lights installed. We got guardrails installed.
Yeah.
And all of that is there to this day. And now contractors have come in and built around that. So it just looks beautiful. I mean, and every time I see somebody walking up and down or jogging with the headphones on or, doing a fast paced walk or whatever,
Yeah.
it's just, it's heartwarming. It's just like, wow,
Yeah.
one person can make a difference.
Absolutely. And to think that, before you got involved and, raised the red flag, they wouldn't have been able to do that with their headphones walking down the side of the road before.
No,
So,
not at all. Not at all. You do it at your own peril.
yeah. So then let's talk a little bit about, your skills and why you had such success in building these coalitions and, navigating the organizations to ultimately get what you want achieved for the community. Where does that come from? I mean, I understand we have similar backgrounds, but, talk about your background, your corporate background and how this all ties together.
Awesome. So now that we've got the foundation laid of where all this started,
Hmm.
perfect segue because, while I was doing that original community work, I was neighbors with a gentleman who was in data security. And, I joined my neighborhood board and he just loved the ideas that I was coming up with for the community in which we lived. And he just became a mentor to me. And he's like, Dominic, I think you do great in corporate IT sales, working and navigating in a complex IT environment. Um, and so I want you to go and get some skills working in a lead gen firm and learn the foundation of what we call in corporate IT sales the solution selling methodology.
Sure.
And understanding how to navigate a large organization, how to get to the decision maker, how to get buy-in from the decision maker, and bringing that entire deal to a close. Those skills have been drilled into me over a decade and a half,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's that corporate IT sales background that I bring to the nonprofit space as a community leader. And the same results I was getting in corporate IT sales, I was getting in the nonprofit space as a community advocate. And so to your point, yes, I do have a set of skills that I downplayed, but yes, those skills have definitely made the difference in the success that we've had in the short period of time that we've been doing this.
Sure. Absolutely. And so that was kind of why I wanted to highlight that, was because there is indeed some skill to towards making all of these things happen. Not that anybody can't figure it out, but I didn't want you to downplay the fact that obviously you're very skilled and very, very talented at what you do. But furthermore, that you expend um, a lot of energy and cycles on delivering results to the community that they can actually see. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's it's a level of satisfaction like no other, right? In corporate IT sales, you and I, we have continuously worked and closed, six figure deals on and seven figure deals,
Yeah.
right? And the satisfaction that we draw from that is the commission, the recognition, um, and the accolades that come along with that.
Sure.
In the nonprofit space, you'll find that you're drawing your satisfaction from seeing something go from nothing but a idea or a concept or a vision to it actually being installed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then the satisfaction that you take away from that is to see other people benefiting from it that wanted to see it all along,
Right.
right? They just didn't know how to do it.
Or they
So
were waiting for somebody to do something about it.
waiting for somebody to do something. And there's an old saying, you know, and I'm just going to paraphrase it. People are waiting for you to succeed so that they can learn how to succeed,
Yeah.
right? Paraphrasing it's something like that. They're depending on your success, and because they may not know, and it's not for the lack of a desire to want to see that change in the community. They just don't know how to navigate like you do,
Yeah.
and so it's a very interesting dynamic that you find yourself in a community. And I hear from older folk all the time. I'm just so happy to see this happening. I've hoped for this to have happened for a long time. I've wanted to see this happen for a long time. I've asked and asked and asked, but I wasn't able to get the results. So thank you, and that just means the world, right? To
Absolutely.
see that,
Yeah, absolutely. And again, guys, if you want to go and check out the results in the community that were delivered by the Turner Foundation, check us out at joincommunityadvocacy.org.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
I'm going to take us one last place here because we're coming up on time. But you mentioned, and I said we put a pin in it, so we're going to come back to the mentorship program, which
Hmm.
has been a runaway success with the results that we've had and the growth that we've seen in the children who are part of the mentorship program. So, talk to me about where that came from. Why did you insist on mentorship?
When I was forming the foundation, I came to a point in my plans that I said, this needs to be scalable and repeatable. How do I duplicate this success and or pass on this knowledge to others, right? And so it was right then and there that the idea for a mentorship program was born. And I said, Dominic, you were part of the Mayor's Youth Leadership Institute in Washington, D.C. That transformed your life. The exposure that gave you, being a youth council member as a result of being in a program, um, being able to stay on a college campus, staying on Howard University campus in the summertime, learning all of these different leadership skills, um, being on a college environment, um, made it a no-brainer for me to go to college personally, right? It was just automatic. It was going to happen because I was already on college campus, even though I was in high school.
Yeah.
And so I said, if I can teach, just bring a fraction of that experience to these kids in Atlanta, then it could transform lives, right? Because it transformed mine, right?
Certainly.
And so I started on, okay, how do I teach them, right? I need to have a curriculum. So I formed a curriculum. And I wanted, and again, this is taking that community advocacy background that I got from my dad. It's taking the youth leadership I got from the youth leadership program. And then coupling those two together, I said, okay, I'm going to teach these kids how to become community advocates. And you couple those two with my sales background in corporate IT sales, I can teach these kids how to be some very powerful, effective community advocates.
Absolutely.
And teaching them every step that I've gone through to advocate for change in the community, I can teach them too. And they can go on and become very powerful leaders at a very early age. And the thing that I drill into them from day one is you don't have to be an old person to make a difference in your community. You
Right.
can make a difference now. And so that's the spirit from which the mentorship program was formed. And then I went about finding a school, and I ended up over at Frederick Douglass High School in Atlanta, and they embraced me with open arms because they said that this was so much needed in their community. And we're into year 2, going into year 3 now. I'm
Yeah,
just blown away by that, right?
I know.
We've just seen our first class of graduating seniors go on,
Yeah.
and all. I'm gonna tell you. Here's the thing, right? When you're operating in your purpose, when you are operating in your purpose, all of these different ideas are just going to come just as natural as breathing.
Yeah.
You don't
Right.
have to go looking outside yourself. It's already baked in to your DNA,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Walking in your purpose will make you the most creative person, the most visionary person you could have ever imagined you could be, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like you had to take a education course or a training course or a motivational course. It's already built in. It was just waiting for you to
Actually.
embrace it,
Yeah.
right? And when you finally embrace purpose, and when purpose meets your attention and your attention is given to your purpose, man, I mean, I can't even express how powerful that shift of energy is in your life. It can transform everything you do from that day forward if you let it.
Yeah.
And if you just follow the plan. And I'm telling you, I had no idea that this was coming. I just embraced that I had a passion for it. And then all of this stuff came,
Absolutely.
all of it.
Yeah, and the results from the mentorship program have been immense. Just don't get the opportunity to spend as much one-on-one time with the kids in my capacity, but um, I've seen the growth of the kids as those cohorts as they come through the program. 14 weeks of mentorship, and seeing how they embrace learning and having the exposure and the experiences, for a lot of them, experiences of a lifetime and things that they never knew because they hadn't been outside their communities, to know that those things were possible. And so, um, again, guys, I would encourage you to check us out at joincommunityadvocacy.org, to see the pictures of some of the adventures from the kids and some of the videos of their presentations. But it's amazing the transformations that have occurred in the lives of those kids, and I'm so excited about the upcoming class as well. So talk to me about your time with that you get to spend with the kids. How impactful is that for you?
Uh, it's been life changing for me, right? To take a group of kids who um, they don't even know what community advocacy is from the beginning, right?
Sure.
And then teaching them what's involved in that, teaching them how to present to city government, teaching them how to form a coalition, watching them go from being very shy,
Yeah.
quiet, and I put them all on the spot all the time. That's the goal. Got to put them on the spot, right? So I have them up, I teach them how to do a PowerPoint presentation. I teach them how to form a problem statement and then present it as a group problem statement to whoever we're presenting to in city government. And I get different kids to present on different slides, and to see them embrace that over the 14-week evolution, I'll say, is
Absolutely.
amazing. I mean, amazing. And then the feedback that they get blows their minds because grown-ups are telling them, wow,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
oh my God, I've never talked to a high school kid about something like this. You all have just totally changed my whole perception of your generation, one person told me.
Wow.
Like to see these kids become civic minded, to equip them with these leadership skills and these presentation skills, giving them life skills through our partners like Regions Bank, where we learned as this program evolved from year one to year two, that when you're dealing with the whole child, the whole person. It's not just that time that they're giving to you. It's you're going to find that partnership with them is much deeper and has more gaps that need to be filled.
Certainly.
And so we started seeing there where we could help them with some financial literacy. And what ends up happening? I get connected to Regis Bank that has already,
Right.
right, and we bolted it in and made it part of it. Then we started seeing that these kids school was doing related to helping them get ready for college application and college readiness, areas that we could help out with there.
Absolutely.
The universe and brought me to a very in our next podcast, and she has a college and career coach. Partner with her and provide college and career coaching for the kids. Our partnership has been extremely deep with The work that we did in the park originally started with that relationship has expanded and grown to the point where uh, uh, let them see and learn about the vision of our mentorship. From there, we were able to get scholarship funding from the school, enable these kids to attend SCAD during the summer, stay, get a college experience. Sound familiar, right? While they're in high school, and literally the experience that I had growing up coming to pass for these kids aspect, literally.
Absolutely.
So where it's come from and where it's WSB TV Channel 2 Action News, Fred Blankenship.
Yeah.
Fred, he stepped no convincing there. He already knew. He's like, count me in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was on board from day one. His class on a tour of the station. Um, kids to congratulate them on being the first class of mentorship program. Award ceremony video for the kids, congratulating them on being scholars. That they're returning as leaders in training, which they completed this year. The coalition has been amazing. Watching the experiences has been absolutely amazing. And visit our website and look at our partnership page, and you'll jumped on board because they see the vision and they want to support it financially. Kids get to college, help these kids recognize of going to college, and it's just a one of our partners found was that I didn't want to give scholarship fund to an 11th grade student and then hope that that money when they needed it, right?
Right.
So I set up a 5 under our foundation,
Wow.
and a scholarship from the foundation. Those funds go directly to the nine plan for each student. And then when the student, the horse, this is the incentive that I wanted to put out there for them to success, apply to college and get into college.
Yeah.
And there with your 529 funds.
Right.
And uh, our first graduating senior been accepted to college, and they've already withdrawn, already been sent to the college.
That's amazing. It's amazing. That, I mean,
Yeah,
and there's more of that to come, right? We've got
absolutely.
circulating through. We're having almost double-digit growth.
Our first year we had 5 students, and and next this coming school year, when recruitment starts, we've got 6 returning leaders in training, 5 graduated, and the returning students will be our new class of leaders in training, and they'll be doing the recruiting at the school for the next class of students coming in. So our goal is to bring on around 20 students this year. So really excited about the growth.
Yeah. Awesome. And, you guys, if you want to help us support that growth, um, you can donate to the cause at joincommunityadvocacy.org. And again, you can also check out all of our results and, the things that we've been talking about that's going on with the foundation there as well. Dom, thank you so much
Man,
for
thank
this
you.
time. This was fun. And you guys can find us wherever you find your podcast.
Absolutely. And uh this is our first episode, but I hear Sunny saying all the time, like, subscribe, and share, like,
That's
subscribe,
right.
and share, right?
That's right.
We'd love for you to join us in future podcasts. Next month we're going to have a special guest who is also a social entrepreneur, Kimberly Shackelford, from Door Money. AI, doormoney.ai, if you want to visit her website. Uh, she does amazing college and career coaching. She'll be our guest in our next episode coming up next month. I think we're going to start, Sunny and I talked about, starting this and keeping it really conservative in terms of the number of episodes, but I think it's going to end up growing quickly. But we're starting off monthly, just to make sure we've got, our ducks in a row. We've worked out all the mechanics and the kinks and all that stuff. But as things accelerate, I'm sure we'll be asked to do more podcast episodes. But we thank you for joining us on this first one. We look forward to seeing you on future podcasts. And with that, I'll turn over to Sunny to bring us home.
Well, again, thank you again, Dominic. This was fun. And you guys, again, join communityadvocacy.org. And please like, comment, share, subscribe this podcast, and you can find it wherever you find your podcast.
Thank you all, and we'll see you next month.
Bye.